Hey, this is Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. We gather every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to look at life through a biblical lens. We definitely invite you to be part of our time together, to come and spend it. But if you can't, of course, we have the YouTubes, the videos that are presented to you every day of your life on our website, thebibleforum.net, or from our YouTube page. This is January 15th. We're talking about Israel's preparation for their coming Messiah. The Old Testament book of Isaiah, chapter 59, beginning at verse 20, says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord." The Israeli Commissioner of Police, Roni al-Sheikh, stated at a recent Jewish celebration that his department is preparing for the arrival of the Messiah. He said, quote, "When the Messiah comes, everyone will want to approach him, so it will get very crowded." In other reported comments, al-Sheikh was far more explicit. He said, "There is no doubt that happiness and serving God will bring us closer. Soon, God willing, we will need to start preparing for the security operation necessary upon the arrival of the Messiah." Leading Israeli rabbis have also argued in recent years that Jews should be preparing for the imminent arrival of their Messiah. Some rabbis have also claimed the Messiah's coming will be preceded by the healing of the breach between Christians and Jews. To Christians, the coming of Messiah is the second coming of Jesus Christ. Jan Merkel, who is founder of Olive Tree Ministries and is now host of the radio show Understanding the Times, co-authored a book entitled "Trapped in Hitler's Hell," says what is truly shocking is how those outside the faith are more focused on eschatology, that's the doctrine of future things, than are Christians. Religious Jews are more excited about Messiah's return than Christians are. Muslims are more anticipatory about their Mahdi's return or coming, depending on which group you belong to, than are Christians about Jesus' return. This is the state of the church today, as it is majoring in minors. They got their finance seminars, their marriage conferences, but they've shoved the idea of the Lord's imminent return not just to the back burner, but way out in the backyard somewhere. Marco pointed to various signs of how Jewish leaders are preparing for the arrival of the Messiah and the construction of a third temple, including a call by the Israeli Rabbinical Council to reestablish the Sanhedrin. We talked about that last year. About red heifers needed for ritual purposes being raised in the Holy Land. That's been going on for a long time now. I believe they came from Minnesota, someplace, Michigan, something like that. The construction of an altar for use in sacrificial services. Several years ago, 2-3 years ago, we saw video and pictures of people doing it in the old way, according to the Bible. Remember the recent gift of Jacob's sheep, said that to be descendants of the sheep described in the Bible. We talked about that earlier in this show. Go back and check the first video of the series. It's a unique breed known for their speckled skin and wool, bands on their ankles and knees, and horns which can number anywhere from 2 to 6. They're getting ready. Bill Cloud of something called Shorshim Ministries, who is the author of a book entitled Esau Rising, Ancient Adversaries in the War for American Soul, also believes many Jews in Israel recognize something huge is about to happen. He says several years ago some rabbis got together and declared that Israel had entered into the time of Jacob's trouble. This is the terminology used in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. We as Christians understand it as the Great Tribulation. But the point here is that the time leading to the advent of Messiah is a time of trouble, and is also likened unto birth pangs. With the recent development in the UN, the U.S. abstaining from the Security Council vote, and the obvious stab in the back that Israel received from the Obama administration, I'm convinced that many of them are beginning to realize that there isn't anybody out there that can save them. They can't depend on the United Nations, haven't been able to depend on the United States, or anyone for that matter. Cloud compared President Obama to Esau in his book because he believes Obama concealed his hostile intentions toward Israel with overtures of peace. Remember when Esau approached his brother Jacob? Jacob didn't trust him. He went on to say, quote, "I feel that what many suspected about Obama and his administration is now laid bare for everyone to see." However, Cloud said that whatever preparations the Israelis are making, ultimately it will require the total change in outlook before they recognize their Messiah. Concerning Israel and the coming of the Messiah, Cloud said it's interesting that the Messiah said that they would see him no more until they say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." Here's the Messiah, quoted in Psalm 118, the psalm that was being sung when he entered into Jerusalem in the triumphant entry. What makes this interesting is that the preceding verse in Psalm 118 says, "Save now, O Lord." The point? The Messiah was telling Israel that they would not see him again until they realized that he was the only one who could save them. When they begin to cry out to him, "Save us," then they would see him again. These recent developments in Israel tell me that many in Israel are arriving at that point. They no longer are looking to men and nations to save them, but rather to the Messiah. An Orthodox Jew follows 13 principles of faith, of which the 12th is, quote, "I believe with complete faith in the coming of the Messiah, and even though he may delay, nevertheless I anticipate every day that he will come." Quote, "For the religious Jew there is a definite expectation every day for the coming of the Messiah. Many feel that what Obama has done at the Security Council and what he may do at the Paris conference that's going on today and a couple days later will complete this. And the purpose seems to be an arbitrary declaration of a Palestinian state. What will happen if a Palestinian state is truly established? Well, it will create a greater confrontation, a greater conflagration. We are seeing the war clouds gather even now. Russia has a foothold in the region. Iran is working toward a nuclear capacity. There was a debate this week, commentators and people back and forth, and that's exactly what Obama was trying to do with all that he did with Iran. And oh no, it really wasn't like, but the truth is, that's where it's headed. And when all of this starts to come unglued, when the economy just goes completely nuts and there's no way for the wealthy leaders in this nation to make money, when there's so much strife that nothing can get done, the Bible says a Western leader will be appointed to come in and straighten it out. But he won't be able to do that. It'll just get worse. And as it gets worse, people are going to die, and tremendous upheavals are going to take place in the earth and in the heavens, and it will just be a horrendous process, out of which will come what we refer to as the Great Tribulation, we look at the midpoint with the number 666 and how the Antichrist requires people to take a number on the back of their hand or on their forehead they can't buy or sell. I mean, all of this is going on. And as it's going on, suddenly, without warning, Messiah will come. The Bible says that he will come with his bride, but he will come with an army. He will also come with a large group called the friends of the bridegroom, those who have attended the wedding of the Lamb and are coming to celebrate the feast, the wedding feast here on this earth. And he will kill off every unbeliever who is alive at that time. The land will be cleansed of their blood. It will take months. And the king will set up his throne in Jerusalem, where he will reign for 1,000 years. And you say, but when will these things happen? Well, I believe the church won't see all of these things coming to pass. The church is that bride of Christ. She's coming back at the end. She went away. She went someplace. And here we get the doctrines of the rapture. A pre-tribulation rapture, a mid-tribulation, a pre-wrath now thing, and a post-rapture. We have all of those theories floating around because we know that the bride is not here at the end. But when this all takes place, there will be a ceremonial cleansing period. And then there will be 1,000 years of peace, until men rise up and do it all over again. With God's blessing, he will allow that. He will allow Satan loose. Satan will be able to convince people who've been born during that 1,000 years that were not redeemed. They'll come at Jesus again, the king, and there's no battle. He will destroy them. And that will be the end. And then will come the judgment, and a new heaven and a new earth, and what we refer to as eternity. You get to see it all beginning, the wheel starting to turn much, much faster than it's ever turned before. What are you going to do about it?